So hi, I'm JR. I think you guys know me as a lot of things, I guess. Indonesian, crop lover, Page's brother, a lot of things, athletic trainer. But I think one of the biggest parts of me has always been being a member of this community, being a member of this church. It all really started about 3.5 years ago, right before I came to the U.S. Me, JJ, and JD have always been a part of a Christian home, but we were never really able to attend church very frequently because we were usually out of town competing in like a tennis match or something like that. So we weren't even home for a lot of our younger years, so we were never really able to be a part of our church, but but right before I left for the U.S., I remember my mom telling me, it's you're about to have all this free time, you're about to be off on your own, and it's really all up to you, really. It's up to you. You can either find God or find Satan. That's literally what she told me. You can either find God or find Satan. And I think I really took the words to heart, and I promised myself that I'd find a church that I could serve in. Not just be a part of, but really serve in, because I never really had that opportunity when I was back home. But fast forward a couple months, and here I am at Austin, and I church hop and checked out a couple churches. Some while my dad was still here, and some by myself. And one of the churches that I checked out was here, HMCC. The very first person who invited me was Tim. We somehow randomly met at like an international dinner, and yeah, so he invited me out, and the very first person I met was Tufu, who was the very first member of the welcoming team. And the very first person I had a significant conversation with was Yo.
Dude.
Somehow he always has some kind of connecting point with people, and with me it was Manchester United. But I remember the very first time I came to the service, there was about like 10-15 people. It was pretty small, and 4 of them was the pastor's family. So it was really small. And probably the members were about 6. The rest were like TC and stuff. But I remember the first time I came, it was the smallest church I've ever been to in my life. Like it literally was. But I remember coming in, and I kept on coming for some reason. I really had nothing to do, so I came out to life group and game night and stuff like that. And partially because I wanted to check out the church, but also partially because I had nothing to do. But I somehow ended up staying. There was something about the church, something about the members that really just clicked. I think it was really just the fact that they really wanted to get to know me. At first I thought this was like some kind of small church syndrome. Like everyone is just like, because it was a really small church. I mean, like literally it was like a group, it was like a class. And it was like everyone really got to know each other. But over that semester, I went up to Ann Arbor, and some of the Ann Arbor guys came down to Austin for their spring breaks and for our spring breaks. And I come to realize that it's really part of the DNA, that this church is really all about just really loving one another, really just trying to be that Acts 2 church where it's really all about putting the church needs ahead of yourself, and really loving others because Christ loved them, and not because because you have anything in common or anything special with them. And fast forward 3.5 years, it's been crazy. I've been a part of several mission trips. I've been able to have the privilege to really serve in life group, and also been a part of 2 ministry teams. But I think also it's really been a learning process for so it was good years. He was my leader in the welcoming team. Taught me a lot about myself. But I think it's been such a learning process for me. Just learning, just really humility, learning, really learning to serve. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Learning it's not about myself. And I think I was trying to figure out what to say today, But one thing, you know, this past Sunday, I was talking with two of the brothers, and it really reminded me why I've really come to love this church, why I've really felt so at home in this church. Is because, you know, this church is really all about, yeah, really all about loving. I remember one of the brothers telling me that, you know, he never felt alone, he never felt out of place here in this church, and you know, it was such a big thing, and yeah, I think that's really what has really, I think it's really kept me alive. I think in college, I think, and you know, I think I keep remembering, at least for the past week, Pastor Ben's sermon, one of Pastor Ben's sermons so long ago, and I think some of the Lego people can understand my reference, but you know, this church is really, it's not just, it's a life-giving church. It's a church for where, you know, everyone can feel welcome. And Pastor Ben said he really wanted this church to be a church, in those words back then, it was a church that can hold birthday parties for prostitutes at 2 a.m. And I think some of you guys might remember that reference before. And I think that's really why I've really come to love this church. Is because, you know, everyone can come here and everyone can feel welcome and everyone can really feel God's presence here. So, you know, it's been crazy 3.5 years, and I'll still be here for another year, at least. But, you know, I'm officially graduating, and it's been fun.